I'm Brad Lamack in Los Angeles. Welcome to you wherever you are watching us for Inside the Business of Acting, segment 4 with the really wonderful Hal Linden. I'm delighted that you would share your life and your stories and your career for our audience of actors and people who want to be actors and fans.
I'm getting to that age where you need to find the need to talk about yourself. You know what I mean?
When does that happen?
Pretty early in my case.
Oh, I want to prepare and plan. So I know that it's very difficult to say to an actor, you know, how did this, you know, because I guess the journey for each person is different.
Totally different.
And so what worked for you could never replicate itself for any other person.
Just the principles, I think, because I did not have one of those breakout careers. I was not a member of the Actors Studio. I was too intimidated to go there.
Were you really?
Oh, I made my career by working my way up in musicals, from musical to musical, finally a straight play, finally, you know, took me a long time to have confidence that I didn't have to sing in order to make it. What is constant, I think, is the dedication to the journey. One of the things I did when I was really scratching back in the early 60s, example, I could sing. I could read music. I could make a living as a jingle singer if I could ever get in. Hard to get in. I contacted AFTRA, and I got the signatories, a list of the signatories to the Jingle Code.
In New York?
In New York.
Yeah.
This is all New York.
Yeah.
I had a tape. I had a friend in the business, and I had done a few for him, unknown beers in Nebraska, you know. But a couple of solos, a couple of harmony parts, and maybe 4 or so. That was my whole tape. And I've divided all those jingle houses up geographically. And I would take a day and go to the east side, south of 42nd Street. And there were many of them down there. And I would go to every one of them, and I would go meet the secretary or the receptionist. Never saw the people. There was 60 names on the list. And they would all say the same thing. Leave your tape. And I knew that if I left my tape, it would get put on a pile. And once a month they say, what are these? Oh, submissive tapes, throw them out. Right?
Right. So
I say, you know, I don't have any other tapes. I'll tell you what, though, if you tell me when, anybody can listen to it. I'll come back. I was ignored by 58 of the 60 places.
Yet you kept going.
But I kept going. And I would get a Broadway show. I was an understudy, or I had a small part. But always during previews, there was always paper. And I would call up all of these places and invite them to see the show. Had nothing to do with jingles. A couple of them came. And we went out after, had some coffee, and we talked about what was wrong with the show, because they were bombs.
But they came.
And now I was a Broadway actor, not just somebody with a tape. And a couple of them sat down and heard my tape. And I made a living. Not a great living, but I made a living. I kept going because I could do some jingles.
We have a word for that now that I don't think existed in the 1960s. I think today we call that proactive.
Proactive? Stick-to-itiveness.
Yes. They don't.
Yes. I don't know if you can do it anymore. I don't know I don't know the situation now. I don't know how you would.
But the theory of what you did is very relevant today. It's exactly what needs to be done and exactly what people do. But I think what set you apart was that you didn't give up.
No.
I think that what we see today is that success sometimes looks too easy for people trying to make it happen. And when it doesn't by Thursday.
Yeah, well, they always say, I'm giving myself 5 years. If I don't make it in 5 years, I'm going back and teach school. Go back now. Because if that's this attitude, go back now. This business is too difficult. It should only be entered in by people who can't do anything else. Not who want to be in the show business, but who must be in show business. And if you have to be prepared never to succeed. And it was only the journey that was worth it. If that's the case, then they can't hurt you. They can't hurt you. But if you're gonna take the slings and arrows, and I took a couple of slings and arrows during those early years. Didn't always get the part when the leading man left. Sometimes they brought somebody else in, and I was let go because the show wasn't doing all that well, or plenty of slings and arrows. But again, I knew that if I said, okay, I'll go back and play this saxophone and make a living that way, I knew I would slip out and never fight the fight. And you gotta fight the fight.
Two things strike me. One is that you never stop believing in yourself.
No, as I said, at one point in my life, I don't remember what day it was, but I woke up. As I said, I was very unsure of myself, and all of a sudden I woke up. I said, I know what I'm doing. I actually know what I'm doing.
And with that comes a confidence level, doesn't it?
That's right.
The other thing that strikes me is that your life has always been filled with people, family, spouse, children that fed you in ways that you didn't seek feeding from the business.
None of my kids are in theater. None of my kids.
Mazel tov.
I find that kind of. Everybody says to me, "None of your kids? None of my kids are in theater."
This is good.
Okay.
That balance has been very important, I bet, over the years.
And I think that's true in anybody's life, in any business. You can do this so much about the work aspect of somebody's life if he doesn't have any kind of anchor, so that there's a reason you're doing all that work. Right.
Right.
I mean, yeah, I won my Tony in 1971. 71. And I got home, and my then 4-year-old said, "Gratulations." Somebody told him how to say "gratulations." It was worth more than all the paparazzi pictures.
And probably worth more than the award.
Yeah.
Inside.
Well, that award is pretty big. That's a big one. That's a big one.
Where is it?
Sitting on my desk. I got 3 Emmys
yes,
and
you
a
do.
Tony.
Yes, you do. And lots of nominations.
Yes.
Barney Miller got every season.
Every season. Never won. Barney Miller, Barney Miller was an independent production.
Yeah.
Independent productions rarely win Tonys because
Emmys.
Emmys,
Yeah.
because the people who vote for Emmys work for 20th Century Fox or MGM or Sony or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And those are the people who vote, and those are the shows that win. So Barney got never won anything. I think it won the last year when it was already off, something like that.
If you go on IMDb.com, the Internet Movie Database, the list